Before we get things started, I am trying to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you see the video and you like the video and you like the overall content on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, so we are back with another video with our good friend, Mr. Rusty Buckets. One trade every team should make in the 2023 season up until the trade deadline. We are currently in December. I think the trade deadline is somewhere around the All-Star break. So we got a few more months before the trade deadline. So I don't know if he's gonna be doing his own personal opinion or he was going to be trying to find a website, because I know I was trying to find a website so I could do this video, but I couldn't find a good enough website. So I hope he found the website for me. low key, I hope he found the website for me. The video is 24 minutes long. Now, I'm not going to be watching all 30 teams, what 30 teams need to be traded. I'm going to probably do like the first 15, first 10, first 15. And then if you guys want to watch the rest of his video, obviously go watch the rest of his video. I'm not trying to take all of his content, only trying to take some. Okay, let's jump into it.
Month or so, I like to make a video suggesting one trade for every NBA team, and we're right around that cycle of another 6 months. So let's talk about one trade that every NBA team would benefit from.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a crazy dance.
Drop a like on it to help it do better in the YouTube
A
algorithm.
crazy dance.
Much appreciated. I want to apply a couple of important notes before this. Some of these trades I don't even think are necessarily that great, but they're fun in theory, so I threw them out there. A lot of these trades cannot actually be done like right this second. A lot of the trades said failed because it can't happen until December 15th. It's 3 days or 2 days from now. 3 days from now. Who cares? Anyways, let's get on with the trades, and I'm going to go in the order of the Conference East and then the West. The Boston Celtics receive Andre Drummond and Javonte Green, and the Chicago Bulls receive Peyton Pritchard and 2 second-round picks. Andre Drummond, I will attest, as someone who didn't expect it whatsoever, is actually a pretty fine backup center, and Javonte Green is a really, really good defender. Wing,
yes,
really
he is. He's eating,
and is a big hustle guy, and any team would benefit from having him. And Peyton Pritchard for the Boston Celtics has been playing like 10 minutes a game, so I don't know that they view him as that important in the long term. So I thought a young guard, even though he's not young, plus some second round picks, is a decent return for two, probably like C+ to B- role players. This only further improves the depth of the Boston Celtics.
That's a bad trade. That's a bad trade.
I figured you trade for Andre Drummond is even though
as a Bulls fan, that's a bad trade. That's a terrible trade. That's an awful trade. Don't do that trade, Bulls. Don't even watch this video. That is a terrible trade. First of all, Peyton who? Now I know who Peyton Pritchard is, but really, Peyton who for Andre Drummond, who's coming off for two players that are coming off the bench and providing amazing defense for us. Andre Drummond has solved our paint issues. If anything, I would have expected him to put Nikola Vucevic on this, because he's been playing like that. Bulls trade, in theory, will go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history, because what the Bulls gave up for what we got in return for Nikola Vucevic is awful. Like, it's terrible. The players that we traded away are doing their thing. Wendell Carter Jr., blossom. Lauri Markkanen, blossom. I think we gave up a couple first round picks. That first round pick turned into Franz Wagner. Not blossom, but he's playing good on the Orlando Magic. So if anything, I would have thought he would have put a Vucevic trade in there. But giving up Andre Drummond, who solved our interior defensive problems, giving up Javonte Green, who was that spark off of the bench, he can guard the opposing team's best player, and then not only to just get back Peyton Pritchard, but 2 second-round picks. What the hell are those second-round picks going to do for the Bulls? Nothing. That's a bad. If that's how the trades in his videos are going to go, Rusty Buckets, I might just have to turn this video off, because that is a terrible trade. Oh my goodness.
No, they have Al Horford and Robert Williams. They do not have a third string center, and that's resulting in Al having to play a lot of minutes.
Andre Drummond. Okay.
At the center at this old age. So I think giving him a couple of minutes relief would not hurt. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been in need of a wing, and the Clippers really haven't played Robert Covington all that much. So Robert Covington to the Cavs. The Clippers have been missing Isaiah Hartenstein.
That'll help the Cavaliers. Cavaliers defense would be crazy with Rocco. But they're giving him Isaac Okoro.
And the Pistons are getting a prospect out of this who, frankly, a lot of people are ready to give up on, but he is still young, so there's some reason to be.
The only reason But I guess the Cavaliers are kind of giving up on Okoro now because they're in the win now phase. And if he isn't playing to win now, they don't need him. So I guess giving him up for a 3-and-D wing like Robert Covington would be the best overall thing for them to do. So honestly, that looking at this trade, that's not a bad trade. And then the Clippers get Noel and Dylan Windler. I don't really know. I know Noel obviously, but Dylan Windler, I don't really know much about him. I don't see what Noel can really bring to that Clippers team. He's going to be a rotational. Not even he probably won't be a rotational player. They're just giving up Robert Covington because they don't play him. So, I don't know. This is a good trade though for the Cavaliers and the Pistons, especially with Cade Cunningham. The Pistons are kind of fishing for a Cade Cunningham trade because he hasn't really been blossoming like they thought he would blossom. He just got injured, so that's going to be hard for them to do these next upcoming months. But this trade overall is not a bad trade. I don't hate this trade.
But he is still young, so there's
I don't hate
some
this trade.
reason to be interested. Really, I think this is a perfect case scenario for all three of these teams.
Yeah.
I don't think that Robert Covington's really a starting wing anymore, but it is some added wing depth to a Cavaliers team that needs it. They really don't need Isaac Okoro because he's shooting, like, I think last I checked, very, very poorly. Unless he's actually turned a season around since I last checked, in which case this is embarrassing. For the Brooklyn Nets, there's going to be a lot of Bulls trades in this one.
Is this a Vucevic trade?
My own agenda to push here.
Oh, Rusty Buckets is a Bulls fan. Why would you recommend that fucking trade then? If you're a Bulls fan, you should know how terrible that first trade was. Derrick Jones Jr. and these second round picks are blowing me.
Javonte Green and send back Kessler Edwards in a second round pick.
These second round picks are blowing me.
The Nets always need those. They're always.
Why are we giving up so much defense?
Defense of the team, and Kessler Edwards is more of an idea right now, as far as I am aware. So it's a young-ish player.
That's a good trade for the Nets.
For two win now defensive
wins. Yeah, I think that's a great trade for the Nets. The Bulls would get absolutely fleeced in that deal, but that is a perfect trade for the Nets because they're giving up damn near 150,000 points per game. So to have two, So to have two dominant defensive wings on their team, so especially so they can give Kyrie and KD a little bit of a break on the defensive end, you can run KD at the 4 and run kind of like Javonte or what did he say? He said Javonte and who? He said Javonte and Derrick Jones Jr. Okay, you can have them run the 3, run the 2 probably. Even I believe the Bulls have Derrick Jones Jr. run the 4 at sometimes. So you can move those guys around any way you want to have multiple defenders on the court with either KD or Kyrie Irving, so they can take a break on that defensive end and then just dominate offensively like they naturally do.
Win now defensive wings. I think that's a fair trade on both sides. This one's kind of interesting. The Sixers get Kyle Kuzma, and the Wizards essentially get salary filler and a first-round pick.
That's decent.
The Wizards are trying to move Kyle Kuzma right now. I think that's
a pretty good trade.
He wants, and they probably want to get a first-round pick.
But how good can Kyle Kuzma be on the Philadelphia 76ers? I feel like he's only playing the way that he's playing right now on the Washington Wizards because he's a top 2, top 3 scoring option because you obviously Bradley Beal, and you can even flip him and Porzingis between being a 2 and 3 scoring option. But then when you get on the Sixers, he's like the 4th scoring option. You have James Harden, obviously. You have Joel Embiid. You have Tyrese Maxey. And then I guess you could throw Kyle Kuzma in as that 4th overall type of player. Not primary score, but that 4th scoring option, I should say. I don't really think his game will transfer over from the Washington Wizards to the Philadelphia 76ers. Not even close. I don't think he's going to be as efficient on the 76ers, and I don't think he's going to be able to get as many touches as he can on the 76ers. So he's just going to be sitting either in the corner or on the wing, waiting for a pass to knock down a 3 from either James Harden or Tyrese Maxey, which I guess that could work, but I don't think that's a good returning trade for the Philadelphia 76ers. But that's a great trade for the
I do think a bigger wing, as much as it's fun to clown on Kyle Kuzma,
watch the Wizards.
Bigger wing who's pretty all right. I think that's a player that the Sixers would benefit from having greatly. The Indiana Pacers received Davis Bertans, Josh Green, and a protected first-round pick from the Dallas Mavericks, and they receive Buddy Hield. I do think that pick plus Josh is a little.
Buddy Hield on the Mavericks is nice.
It might be too much, but Buddy Hield.
I don't think so.
would be
because
perfect.
yeah,
Another
that's a
guy who can
perfect.
provide
That is
some
a
secondary
perfect
shot
fit.
creation, but more importantly,
Bro, that's a good trade. That's probably the best trade all video. That's a perfect
obviously
fit for
just be
Buddy
a
Hield.
floor spacer, one of the best and highest volume 3-point shooters in the league, and it would provide the Mavericks some offense that is much needed after Luka,
Luca.
Dinwiddie, and Christian Wood. In the case
Mm-hmm.
of the Pacers, Josh Green has looked pretty good for the Mavericks this year, and he's pretty young, so that's a young role player to get in on early, plus a pretty decent first round pick, because even if the Mavericks do turn their season upwards, I doubt they're going to finish like top 5 in the West, so that pick would be pretty all right.
Yeah,
The
that's
Atlanta
true.
Hawks receive Mason Plumlee and Kelly Oubre Jr. plus a first-round pick that is owned by the Denver Nuggets.
I don't see a
And
problem with
the
this trade either.
Hornets will receive John
The Hawks should
Collins.
have been got
Kelly
rid of John
Oubre
Collins.
makes more sense in the
John Collins should have been gone in the off season. Once they got what's bro name? I love him. I when I just start recording, I just blank out on all of the names, all of my basketball knowledge. It goes out the window. What is his name? DeJounte Murray. Love him. Big DeJounte Murray guy. When they got DeJounte Murray, I feel like they should have just kind of not blown the team up, but there was no need to have John Collins still. You can get a better four than John Collins. John Collins, he's a decent player, but in the system that they run for John Collins, they primarily need a a um a 3 and D. And this sounds crazy. They need a stretch 4, 3 and D, power forward. That's what they need, because John Collins on the defensive end, he's not really going to do it for you. He's not as consistent on the offensive end. Of course, he's going to knock down those shots. Obviously, he can knock down shots, but he's not as consistent as a better power forward in the league on offense and defense. And I love John Collins. I think if John Collins is like the second scoring option on the team, I feel like he can do really good. I feel like if they move him to the 5, probably instead of having Clint Capella at the 5, I also think he could do really well. But Clint Capella's at the 5, they have him running the 4, and he's just not looking great. You can go back a year or two ago, before that Houston Rockets trade. I think that was a trade that brought Capella to the. I think that was a trade that brought Capella to the Hawks. Um, he was playing great. John Collins last 2 seasons, he was playing great. 2-3 seasons, he was playing great. But having Capella at that 5 is kind of throwing it off a little bit.
the scheme of what the Hawks seem to want to do. The more and more the Hawks progress, the more and more it seems like John Collins doesn't really fit their vision of what the team should be. Really, it should be their 2 guards leading things with a bunch of wings out there. Kelly Oubre is more suited for that than John Collins, obviously.
Oh,
And you're getting that
see?
plus a first-round pick. Mason Plumlee's just salary.
Yeah, the trade the Rockets get Covington and Jordan Bell from the Wolves, and the Hawks get 2024 second round pick. The Hawks get Capella and Nene from the Rockets. Okay, so it was a 3-person trade. Okay, but yeah, when did this trade happen? This was like 2008, 2019, 2020. I think it was like 2019, 2020 type beat. Yeah. So look at John Collins' numbers before and after Clint Capella.
And the Hornets are getting back someone who can score the ball and specifically would pair quite well with LaMelo Ball. That pick and roll duo would probably be quite nice, and it would give him someone to rely upon offensively regularly. So I do like that fit quite a bit. The New York Knicks receive Buddy Hield. The Pacers receive Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quickly.
I don't want to see any Knicks trades unless they blowing that team up, unless they trading Julius Randle, unless they trading Cam Reddish, unless they trade Derrick Rose. Please get Derrick Rose out of New York. Unless they trade in RJ Barrett, unless they trade in Obi Toppin. I don't want to see any Knicks trade, because this would do nothing for the Knicks. I guess it's not even a salary dump, really. I was going to say, I guess it's a salary dump, but it's not even a salary dump. What is Buddy Hield going to do for that Knicks team to transform them from the dumpster fire that it is, on top of them giving up a first round pick? I don't want to see any Knicks trades.
Milwaukee's first.
They don't do anything for me.
Pick, which I don't know why I added a top 10 protection to.
Yeah,
because
I don't
not
either.
Like Milwaukee is not going to finish in the top. But Buddy Hield, the Knicks are a bad shooting team, to say the least.
They're a bad team. They're not even a bad shooting team. They're just bad.
An argument for like Quentin Grimes getting more opportunity and like how would that affect their minutes and all of that. But I think overall Buddy Hield would be a plus in New York, especially with how bad that offense is, so long as the Knicks are taking the approach of trying to remain competitive. I personally think they should, I mean, I don't
They
know
should
if they
blow it
can
up.
really get much worse.
Blow it
I would
up.
want them to keep RJ and
No,
Brunson, trade
no.
Randall. I don't know. At this, I don't know what the
I'd
Knicks
rather
can
them
ever do.
trade
But if they're
Barrett than
trying to be
Randall.
competitive, this is a kind of competitive move. And they're trying to get rid of Emmanuel quickly for some reason, so this accomplishes that. The Toronto Raptors receive Eric Gordon. The Rockets receive Thaddeus Young, Kem Birch, Malachi Flynn, and
I
2
don't.
second-round picks.
This is a throwaway
Really just
trade. I don't care
salary
about this
filler
trade.
plus
Yeah,
2
it's a
seconds
throwaway
for
trade.
Eric Gordon. I think maybe there's a team out there that would give a first for Eric Gordon, but 2 seconds is probably more.
It's gonna have to be a
true.
contending team
And
because
Eric
they
is
know
just a guy who can
rebuilding or
score some
selling
points off of
team
the bench,
giving up a
and
first
really,
round
when
pick
I'm
for
looking
Aaron
at the
Gordon.
Toronto Raptors, it's a pretty complete and well-rounded roster. So the only thing that I could see that they really didn't have some variety of was a scoring punch off of the bench. So that's what you would hope Eric Gordon to be in this instance. They have some good defenders off of the bench, but no one who's like, yeah, that guy can go get me a bucket. Even though Eric Gordon is very slowly not quite being that type of player anymore, but he can still score in droves at times. The Miami Heat receive a whole bunch of salary filler that will be expiring within
Honestly,
2 years.
that's a decent. This is a decent trade because Duncan Robinson, he is doing nothing on that team. Nothing on that team. And you have 2 expiring deals in Sterling Brown and Darius Baisley that expire at the end of this year. And then David Nwaba and Marquise Chris expire in the next 2 years. And on top, but you're giving up some picks though. Okay, one of your picks is top 10 protected, and then the other is a second round pick. Oh no, is that what you're getting? No, that's what you're giving up. Yeah, that's what you're giving up. That's not a bad trade. I don't see this trade being bad, especially since you're getting rid of Duncan Robinson. And then your team's Jimmy Butler's getting old. So you're not going to hold on to Jimmy Butler for that long. So you gotta. I like this. I like this. Kyle Lowry. Honestly, if you throw Kyle Lowry in a trade package as well and get rid of his contract, that'd be perfect. I don't think that's possible to get rid of that contract, but if they could, hey, the Miami Heat are in a good position.
Get back Duncan Robinson, and in exchange for taking on that money, Kola Jovic and a top 10 protected first round pick. Honestly, I don't know how much I like that. I feel like that should be lottery protected at the very least. But Jovic is
Top 10, not that
probably
bad.
a pretty interesting prospect for the Thunder. Duncan Robinson's salary, obviously they're taking that on in exchange for that player, but also the first round pick. I don't know. I don't know if getting rid of Duncan Robinson's money is worth giving up like the 12th pick, but also I don't think it's worth not taking on a pick that has a huge chance of not conveying, because the Heat have a huge chance of not making the playoffs. So I'm not actually sure about
that is
this
true.
one. For the Chicago Bulls, they receive DeAndre Ayton. The Suns receive Nikola Vucevic, Alex Caruso, and Javante Green. This is, of course, in the instance that the Suns want to trade DeAndre Ayton. I have been strongly in the camp that they would be
I
dumb
like it,
to
but I
do
don't
that.
like it.
However, there continues to be reports suggesting that they would be pretty all right with departing ways with him, even after he signed that contract and even after Robert Sarver's gone. I know he has some sort of chemistry issue with the head coach, but
But at that point, you're kind of like trading the same player for each other. Because DeAndre Ayton is kind of in the same position as Nikola Jokic is in, being that third option. I mean, I guess the only plus for DeAndre Ayton, he's a bit better on the interior, but I wouldn't say DeAndre Ayton is he's not scaring anybody from driving against him. Same with Nikola Jokic. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're trading. I feel like I feel like that's the same trade. You're trading for the same person on top of giving up 2 great perimeter defenders in Alex Caruso and Javante Green. I don't know.
I think DeAndre, and it would be dumb to trade him. But if you're going to be dumb and trade him, at least trade him to my basketball team. Nikola Vucevic for DeAndre has been discussed before. I think that's a huge undersell, so I also threw in Alex Caruso, as well as Javante Green, who, again, as I've mentioned before, is a really quite solid defensive wing. Kind of hit his threes and is a terror in transition. He definitely has his offensive woes at times, but he's a huge energy guy and not a bad guy to have on your bench whatsoever. So that's 3 guys who can really directly contribute to your rotation, 2 of which rather significant. significantly. Maybe you throw in a second round pick or two in there, but I don't think with Alex, Vooch, and Javante, you're really going to get a first out of the Bulls, especially because I don't even know if they can trade a first at this point. But by all means, if they want to trade him, which would be stupid, trade him to Chicago.
Trade him
And
to
I
Chicago,
actually
I
came
guess.
up with a second Bulls trade just for the sake of getting Zach LaVine in a Raptors jersey in the thumbnail. Thaddeus Young,
He's
Chris
nasty.
Boucher, Gary Trent
You're
Jr.,
nasty.
and a first round pick. Gary Trent is quite good. I don't know. I almost feel like a first round pick is maybe just a little bit too short. Chris Boucher is cool too. Thaddeus Young is old as hell, as good as he was last time he was in Chicago. But yeah, Gary Trent is cool, but not the youngest in the world in a first round pick. It's not the best return in the world, but I think it's a decent one. And I have seen some people on Raptors Twitter suggest trading for Zach LaVine, but also knowing how Raptors Twitter is, I'm
They
sure
want
there's an
everybody.
equal subsection on the other side that would despise the notion of trading for Zach LaVine. So yeah, there's that. Zach LaVine will come up in a trade later. I will just say that yeah, he's a very weird player to gauge his trade value right now. He's been a lot better as of late, which I think definitely helps. But it's a lot of money for a guy who has been injury prone and started off the season really, really poorly. But he
That's
has
true.
really looked good the last couple of games. Hopefully this is a turning of the tide. The Washington Wizards.
All right. I'm going to end it there. We're about 10 minutes into a 24-minute video. So if you want to watch the rest of the video, go to his channel, watch the video. A lot of the trades, they weren't really blockbuster big deal trades. Maybe he has them at the end, towards the end of his video. So I don't know. We're in a league where big trades really don't happen throughout the season. I guess every year we're kind of waiting for that trade deadline, and we have our fingers crossed, like, please let us get a big trade. Let us get a big trade. And then it's just a salary dump trade or a player for a player that really doesn't make sense or it's not as impactful to the team. You're trading a bench warmer for another bench warmer. That's basically how the trade deadline has gone for the past couple of years. Not really any big trades. You usually get your big trades during the off season. So that's that. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, comment, subscribe. I'll see all you in the next video. Peace out.